Hi everyone, this is Mark and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the last episode, we were focusing on setting up our base camp, such as getting this container, building a toilet, a fence around, and many more. And in today's video, instead of building, we are going to be digging. Please stay tuned. Shortly after we bought this land, the locals handed me over the ultimate water plan. Let me show you. The municipality had a plan to lay the pipes and connect the city water to the households, but there was a problem. A private cornfield stood between the last water connection point and the village. The pipes needed to be laid just under this property. A local farmer agreed to let the pipes to be installed, but only and only after the harvest season. The crops had been planted by this point already, and he didn't want to lose any money because of this construction, which is understandable. I am still not sure if this story is actually true or it was just an easy and quick explanation to the locals why the job is not being done on time, but it's definitely a funny story. Even though the plan was already in motion, we applied for the connection to understand the conditions. However, it would have cost us 9,000 zloty and required a couple of years' wait. Anyways, we decided to go ahead and get a well instead. It was time to make a call. It didn't take long to find out who the local water guys were, the ones who digs all the wells around. After a quick phone call, we knew we were on the right track. We were given a couple of options for the types of well we would like to have. Option number 1 was a more expensive choice. It involved digging a few concrete rings and lowering them into the ground to ensure the pipes wouldn't freeze during the winter. Option 2 was cheaper because it didn't include the groundwork or the rings, just the drilling and the basic manual pump at ground level. We decided to go with option 2 because of the price, and since it was in the middle of the summer, we had plenty of time to consider a more permanent solution before winter. Before these guys even arrived on our property, the communication was very clear and easy to understand them. They were very straightforward regarding the prices. We were told that the first water level is at 13 meters and the price would be depending on how many meters of pipe they laid. They were really friendly and delivered exactly what they promised. The well also had to be completed fairly quickly because the building permit was already on its way and we only had a couple of weeks left to prepare everything for the construction. They were able to get started within just a few days, which was really great. The entire process took no more than 4 hours, and by the end, we had clean water flowing from the pipes. After all the preparation, they dug a hole down to the forced water level. A mixture of cement and water was pumped into the hole to help harden the walls and prevent them from collapsing before the pipes were lowered into place. Once everything was done, they removed the drill bits and inserted a 110mm pipe into the hole. This blue pipe isn't the one that carries the water. Instead, a smaller pipe is inserted inside, which is connected to the pump on the surface. My dad is an engineer and he recommended we not just go with a single pipe, but double it up. This would give us the option to have a manual pump on the surface, while also allowing us to connect an electric water pump at the same time. So when we need water for the construction, we can pump up a good amount of water in no time. He was visiting us during this time and he had a spare water pump in his garage. so he gave it to us so we could save some money. The machine was quite vintage, and some of the pipes were stuck, making it feel impossible to unscrew. But in the end, physics won, and we managed to get it done. Although we had this electric pump, there was no electricity. For a while, we had been looking for a generator to use until we got connected to the city's electricity. But we never bought one, because these machines are quite expensive. We tried to avoid it as long as we could, but eventually we realized we needed one once the construction started. I did a lot of research to find the best option for our needs, and we decided on a 3 kilowatt Honda generator with an AVR, so we could charge our sensitive devices without damaging them. In the end, my dad surprised us by buying the generator for us. Now that we had both electricity and the water pump, the water ran continuously. All that remained was checking the water quality to ensure it was safe to drink. However, with the building permit deadline fast approaching, we decided to put it off for now. Although some of the locals have been drinking it for years, I'd like to check the quality just to be on the safe side. But that is probably something for a future episode. Having water was a moment of pure excitement, because at last we could plant trees and plants with a much better of chance of thriving. Planting a tree on my own land had always been on my bucket list, ever since I first heard my grandparents' story. In 1970, they bought a small deserted piece of land and planted some pine trees on it. My grandma told me how tiny those trees were when they planted them with my grandfather. As a child, I couldn't understand how such a small tree could grow so big. It seemed like a mystery to me back then. Now, after 55 years, those trees are well over 10 meters or even more. I remember sitting next to the tree, trying to see if it was actually growing. Somehow, this stayed with me, and now here I am, fulfilling those childhood memories. To me, caring for and growing a tree, watching it thrive, is a beautiful symbol of time passing. And when I'm gone, these trees will remain, offering shade for the next generation. In the meantime, we bought some vino blues online and planted them in small containers at home. This plant grows several meters each season, making it perfect for covering fences or buildings. We wanted something like this for our fence, so we bought a few to experiment with. They grew quickly, and the kids loved watching them thrive. We also grew some tomatoes and different types of peppers on our balcony. It was more like of a fun project with the kids than a serious attempt of mass production. By the end of the season, well, that was all we had. I love gardening. I'm not very good at it, and my knowledge is questionable, but I like it. I can't wait to live on the land, start experiencing, and learn along the way. There is still a lot to do, but the time will come very soon. If you'd like to support us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. I'll see you in 2 weeks when we finally start building our tiny farmhouse.